In the hush of a forgotten scriptorium, time seems to pause. These pages, so fragile and worn, once held the weight of the world. Each stroke of gold in lapis lazuli was a prayer, a declaration, a testament to faith and fear. These were not just books, they were acts of devotion. The colors are faded now, but the intensity of their original purpose lingers. These are not mere remnants. They are echoes of a world long past. To look at these pages is to peer through time, into the minds and hands of those who once held this world in their grasp. This is not just art. It is history, memory, and mystery, all bound together in a single, silent page. So what exactly are we talking about? It begins with the hand, a human hand, steady and precise, moving across vellum, shaping light into meaning. This is not just writing. It is artistry, a sacred act of creation, where color and form become language, where gold and lapis are letters in a divine script. These are not just decorations. They are spiritual tools. The colors, the patterns, the light, they all serve a function. All carry meaning. All whisper to those who look upon them. To illuminate a manuscript was to bring the divine into the material world. It was to make the sacred tangible, to make the invisible visible, to make the eternal present. And yet, for all its grandeur, it is a quiet act. A solitary one. A silent conversation between the hand, the mind, and the divine, carried out in the stillness of a scriptorium. You might not think you care about medieval manuscripts, but consider this. Every time you read a book, you're standing on the shoulders of scribes who labored in candlelight, crafting stories that shaped our world. The beauty of these illuminated manuscripts isn't just in their art, but in their endurance. They are the silent witnesses to centuries of human thought, devotion, and creativity. To care about these works is to care about the origins of your own curiosity, your own pursuit of knowledge. It's to acknowledge that you're part of a long, luminous chain of thinkers. The mystery of these manuscripts isn't just about the art. It's about the people who created them, the questions they asked, and the answers they left behind for us to find. In a world that moves too fast, these manuscripts remind us to pause, to look closely, and to find meaning in the quiet, the old, and the unknown. From the 5th century onward, the art of illuminating manuscripts began to take shape in monastic scriptoriums. These sacred spaces were filled with the scent of ink and vellum, where monks labored under candlelight to preserve the word of God. By the 8th century, the Carolingian Renaissance gave rise to a new era of beauty and order. Monks in France and Italy refined the script, adding gold leaf and intricate patterns to make the divine more visible to the faithful. As the centuries passed, the tools and techniques evolved. Coals became finer, pigments more vivid, and the role of the illuminator expanded from scribe to artist. Yet the purpose remained the same, to honor the sacred through beauty. By the late Middle Ages, illumination had become a symbol of power and piety. These manuscripts were not just books, they were treasures, crafted with devotion and displayed in gilded reliquaries in royal courts. The final centuries of illumination saw the transition from monastic devotion to the rise of printed books. The art of illumination, once sacred, now found itself in the hands of the curious and the collectors. Imagine you're holding a book made by hand, with colors painted on pages like a picture. It's not just writing, it's art, telling stories in a time before printing. These pages weren't just for reading. They were made to make you feel something, like wonder or awe, because they told important stories about faith, kings, and life. They painted not just for kings, but for people who needed to believe, to remember, and to feel connected to something bigger than themselves. These books were like windows into a world that now gone, but through them, we can still see the light of that time and feel its heartbeat. The first step in illumination is preparation. the quiet act of reverence for the text that will be brought to life. The scribe begins by gathering the tools, the parchment, and the pigments that will transform words into art. The parchment is carefully laid out, its surface smooth and ready to receive the first strokes of ink. It is often mounted on a wooden board, which keeps it taut and allows for even application of color. A small, wooden stand holds the quill, ready for use, while a scribe reaches for a brush, which will apply the pigments with precision and care. Every tool is a part of the ritual of creation. With the materials in place, the scribe begins to think not just about the design, but about the meaning behind it. Every line, every color, is chosen with intention, as if the manuscript itself is a prayer. The second step in the process is the creation of the mechanism, the intricate scaffolding that supports the entire illumination. This is where the artist begins to bring the manuscript to life, setting up the framework for color and design. This grid is often drawn with a ruling pen, a tool that allows for consistent lines across the page. It acts as a guide for the artist, ensuring symmetry and alignment in the decorative elements. Once the grid is complete, the artist may add additional guidelines, often drawn in red or black ink, to mark the placement of ornamental letters and decorative borders. These lines are not just technical, they are the artist's blueprint, the silent conversations between the creator and the viewer, mapping out the story that will unfold in color and light. With this foundation in place, the artist is ready to move beyond the grid, to transform it into something more than structure. It becomes the canvas for creation, the stage for expression. Now, the artist would apply the gold leaf with a fine brush, carefully layering it onto the parchment in delicate, precise patterns. This wasn't just decoration. It was a statement of wealth and status, a visual declaration of the patron's power and piety. But there was a trick to this process. The gold leaf was not applied directly, but rather with a special tool called a burnisher, which would press the leaf into the surface, making it appear to float just above the parchment. This technique, known as gilding, allowed the gold to be both visible and protected. It gave the illusion of depth and dimension, making the manuscript feel like a window into the divine. The final step was to add color, vivid, rich hues like red, blue, and green, using pigments ground into fine powders and mixed with glue or egg tempera. These colors, though temporary by today's standards, were meant to last for centuries. Each stroke was deliberate, each color a prayer. The artist was not just creating a book, they were crafting a relic, a vessel of faith, a bridge between the earthly and the eternal. Beneath the artistry of these illuminated pages lies a science of patience and precision. The monks who worked in the scriptorium did not just paint. They measured, mixed, and applied with a meticulousness that defies time. The pigments they used were not merely colored powders, but alchemical compounds, ground minerals, crushed stones, and even powdered insects. Each hue was a secret known only to the most skilled illuminators. The process of gilding required not only skill, but also a deep understanding of chemistry. Gold leaf, delicate as it is, had to be applied with the right pressure, at the right angle, and with the right kind of glue, made from animal hide and egg white. These techniques were passed down through generations, preserved not only in the works themselves, but also in the tools and methods that endured. The science of illumination was not lost. It was hidden in the very fabric of the manuscript. To study these manuscripts is to glimpse the scientific mind of the medieval world, a world where art and science were not separate, but intertwined in a silent, sacred dialogue. Imagine a single candle flickering in the dark, casting a narrow beam of light across a vast, untouched wall. That light reveals shapes, textures, and forms you never noticed before. The candle is the scribe's hand, the wall is the parchment, and the light is the ink. Each stroke, each color is a whisper from the past, revealing stories buried in time. The candle does not know what it illuminates. It only knows its own flicker, its own flame. The scribe does not know what they are writing. They only know their hand, their pen, their purpose. In this way, the manuscript is both a guide and a mystery. It reveals but never fully explains. It is a light in the dark, and the dark remains. So too are we, as viewers, like the candle. We bring our own light to the page, and in doing so, we become part of the mystery we seek to understand. Before you go, if you enjoyed this, please give it a like, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And tell us in the comments what you'd like us to make next. We read every single one. Thank you so much for watching. Comment this emoji if you made it to the end.